Have you ever felt like the Christmas story was beautiful, but somehow distant from your real life? What if it was never meant to be just a story you hear once a year, but a map of your own fears, longings, and new beginnings? In this experience, we'll begin with a gentle narration of the story, then explore what each character, each moment represents within you, your intuition, your doubt, the new life trying to be born. And if you stay till the end, you'll be guided into a meditation that immerses you in the story. So you don't just understand it, you experience it from the inside. This event is meant to be gentle. There will be moments of listening, reflection, stillness, and you're invited to participate in whatever way feels right for you. So, whether that's with your full attention, whether it's with your quiet presence, or simply letting the words wash over you. The Christmas season can be a beautiful time, but it can also be full of expectations, full of memories, full of obligations, full of emotions, and sometimes even that sense of pressure to feel a certain way. This space is not about how Christmas should feel. It's about meeting yourself honestly wherever you are. Today we'll explore the Christmas story as more than something we hear once a year. We will approach it as a living story, one that speaks to change, to fear, to courage, to new beginnings, and the quiet ways that transformation unfolds in our life. You don't need to believe anything particular to be here, and you don't need to understand everything that's said. All that's required is your presence and just that little bit of curiosity. So take a moment to notice your breath. Feel the support of the chair or the floor beneath you. Let this be a gentle pause leading up to the season, a small pocket of stillness. And before we begin, a small short note about the spirit of this gathering. The Christmas story is sacred to many people in many different ways. For some, it's a historical event, for others, it's a spiritual event, and for others, it is a poetic myth that speaks to the human journey. In this session, we are not replacing or challenging anyone's faith or anyone's tradition. We are simply exploring one more way to meet this story, a symbolic, a psychological, and a contemplative way, a way that helps us recognize how the themes of the Nativity can unfold within our own lives. This session does not deny the historical or the devotional meaning of the story. It simply invites us to listen with our inner ear, to ask ourselves, what does this narrative reveal about my own transformation, my fears, my hopes, my inner guidance, and the light that wants to be born in me? Take from this experience only what resonates with your heart and leave the rest gently aside. My intention today is to honor the story, honor your beliefs, and offer a pathway of reflection that supports your own awakening and healing. And with that spirit of respect, of openness, let us begin the journey. The format for this event, I'll start off with a recitation of the Christmas story, the story of the Nativity, Then we will go into the story, looking at each of the characters and looking at the meaning that character has in our own transformational journey. And we will end the session with a longish meditation that lets you immerse yourself into the Christmas story. Let's begin with the Christmas story. A young woman named Mary receives an unexpected visitation from an angel. The angel tells her she will conceive and give birth to a child who will bring light into the world. At first, she is afraid, deeply afraid, because this calling feels larger than she is. Yet something in her says yes. Joseph, her partner, is confused and unsure. His practical mind can't make sense of what's happening. But guidance comes to him in the quiet of a dream, and he too chooses to trust. A decree forces them to travel to Bethlehem, and when they arrive, every inn, every house, every room is full. There is no space for them except a stable, and there, among animals and straw, the child is born. Nearby, shepherds are watching their flocks in the night. And suddenly, angels appear announcing good news. A child is born. The shepherds rush to the manger in awe. Wise men from the east see a star rise in the sky, a sign of a sacred birth. They follow the star for weeks, maybe months, until it stops over the place where the child is. They bring gifts, gold, frankincense, myrrh, and they bow before him. But King Herod, threatened by the possibility of a new kind of power, seeks to destroy the child. So Mary and Joseph leave in the dead of night, fleeing to Egypt to protect the infant. Only when the danger has passed do they return home, where the child grows in safety. This is a retelling of the Christmas story. The angel appears to Mary. That's kind of how the story starts. The angel appears to Mary. When a new possibility enters your life, when a new possibility is entering into your life, the angel represents the moment when life speaks to you from within. And this doesn't happen, it doesn't usually happen in dramatic ways. More often, it arrives quietly. Our angel arrives quietly. Our angel could arrive as a recurring thought that you can't dismiss. It could arrive as a feeling of restlessness with business as usual, or a gentle longing for more meaning, for more honesty, for more peace. Or you get that sense that a chapter is ending, even if you don't know what comes next. In our everyday lives, in the lives that we lead, our daily lives, the angel may sound like, I can't keep living like this, or there must be another way, or I want to feel more like myself. The angel can also sound like that sudden idea that comes to your mind, that new project that suddenly you envision and you're able to see that project in your mind. The angel comes to us in many different ways. The angel does not force, the angel invites. You might be feeling successful on the outside, but empty inside. Or you may realize that a relationship, a habit, or an identity no longer fits who you are becoming. That realization is the angel. So reflecting on your day-to-day life. Is there an idea or the desire or the truth that keeps returning to you? An idea, a desire, or the truth that keeps returning to you. Maybe it's about something that you're meaning to do, a relationship that you're meaning to forge, or a relationship that you're meaning to break, a boundary that you've been meaning to set. So in your life, in your daily life, any ideas, any desires, any truths that keep returning to your mind, that's your angel whispering. And if you took the time to listen to your angel deeply, what might life be inviting you toward right now? And we go on. The second highlight of the story, Mary was afraid. Mary was afraid. Fear is a natural response to growth. It's a natural response to growth. Fear is not a flaw. Fear is a part of awakening. Whenever something new wants to be born in you, whenever something new wants to be born in you, the nervous system reacts. Fear can show up as the fear of disappointing others, the fear of instability, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of losing what feels familiar. This fear that you feel, it doesn't mean stop. It means something meaningful is at stake. Something meaningful is at stake. You may feel fear before you set a boundary, before you leave a job, before you tell the truth, before you start therapy, before you follow a creative calling. Mary's fear is the same fear you feel when growth asks you to step beyond who you've been. Is the same fear you feel as Mary feels because you're being asked to step beyond who you've been. Taking a moment to reflect. And if there's a new possibility in your mind, if there's something that you've been thinking of doing or you've been meaning to do, what is the fear that arises when you think about that? If you've been meaning to start a new project, is there a fear that's coming up? What is the fear that's coming up? Is it the fear of judgment? Is it the fear of criticism? The fear of judgment, the fear of criticism, the fear of not being good enough. And these fears that are coming up, are they protecting you from danger? Are they really protecting you from danger, or are they preventing you from growth? And Karma has said it beautifully. Fear is one of the human forms of intelligence, and like all forms of intelligence learning, understanding and practice helps it develop. Understand what the fear is about, and understand also that that fear is not real. It is simply a reaction of your nervous system. Moving to the next highlight. The angel tells Mary, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. This is the voice beneath the fear. The voice beneath the fear. This line is not a command. Do not be afraid. That's not a command. It's reassurance. Beneath our fear is often a quieter voice, a calm voice, a steady voice, a clear voice. It doesn't shout, it reassures. We've just got to get quiet enough to listen to that voice. Sometimes the voice may come through a sense of relief when you actually imagine the change. Like there's a change that's going to happen, you're afraid of the change, but you take some time to actually imagine the change, what the change is about, try to understand the change, and you feel that sense of relief. That's when the voice comes out. Or you feel that feeling that this change is in alignment with who I am becoming. Even though it's putting me into uncertainty, it's still in alignment. Or if you've been on this journey long enough and you've been listening, you will see those synchronicities that seem to confirm the direction that you're taking. Do not be afraid. You may be scared about leaving something, yet when you imagine staying, your body tightens. When you imagine leaving, there's fear, but there's also relief. And that relief, that's that deeper voice that's speaking. The deeper voice that's speaking. If any of you all are following a certain path, or you all are being called to follow a certain path, or move in a certain direction, or take a certain action, when you think about that, how does your body feel? Does it feel tense? Does it tighten? Or does it kind of get a sense of relief, a sense of relaxation? The next highlight. You will conceive something holy. You will conceive something holy. And I like to equate this to when an idea takes root. To conceive is to accept an idea emotionally, not just intellectually. Accepting an idea emotionally. Something becomes holy when it aligns with your deeper truth, self respect, healing, integrity, love, creativity, peace. These are your inner truths, and something becomes holy when it aligns with your inner truth. It's not about ambition, it's about authenticity. For example, when you decide that I deserve kindness, or I will no longer abandon myself. This decision may not look dramatic, but these decisions are sacred. These decisions change everything. So you can ask yourself, keeping in mind, you will conceive something holy. In this season, in this phase of your life, what quality of life is looking to grow in you? What quality of life is looking to grow in you? And this could be being more authentic, being more open, being more honest, being more compassionate towards yourself. being more respectful towards others and towards yourself. What quality of life wants to grow within you? And if you can think about this quality, if you can identify this quality, if this quality that you want to grow within you, if this quality was already alive in you at this moment, how would you treat yourself differently? How would you treat yourself differently? The next highlight. Yet something in her says yes. Yet something in her says yes. That moment of inner consent, let it be. Thy will be done. This is the moment when your resistance softens, when you surrender to the flow. Let it be does not mean passivity. Let it be means cooperation. Let it be marks the shift from fighting yourself, arguing with your intuition, waiting for certainty. It marks the shift from that to allowing, to trusting, to taking one honest step. For example, you stop trying to force clarity. Instead, you allow clarity to unfold. One of the paradoxes we discussed a couple of weeks back. We stop trying to force clarity. We allow clarity to unfold. Or you stop demanding guarantees and you start trusting the process. Something that we have discussed in the artist's way. Stop demanding guarantees, start trusting the process of what you're doing. Our inner truths. Where in your life are you still arguing with your own inner truth? Where in your life are you still arguing with your own inner truth? Yesterday on the Thursday session, where we discuss creativity, it comes up a lot of times, especially as creatives. We see ourselves as imposters. We have what is called imposter syndrome, and that is the argument that we are having with our own inner truth. We are creatives, we are not imposters. So where in your life are you still arguing with your own inner truth? And if you let it be, how would that look like in your life? Accepting who you are, how would that look like in your life? Stepping into the role, accepting the role that you perform, how would that look like in your life? The next highlight. Joseph doubts, then dreams. Joseph doubts, then dreams. Logic meets intuition. Logic meets intuition. And Joseph simply represents the rational mind. And we all have this rational mind, right? Is the part of us that wants evidence, that wants safety, that lives on predictability, the rational part of our mind. And this part is it's not an enemy, it serves its purpose. It simply needs reassurance. But guidance often arrives when the mind is relaxed. Guidance, intuition, it often arrives when the mind is relaxed. In dreams, in meditation, while walking, during stillness, in the shower, even. Guidance often arrives when the mind is relaxed. There are parts of us that need proof before we trust? Where in your life? Or are you going through a certain phase in your life or through a certain event in your life where you are looking for proof before you can trust? Is there anywhere in your life where you're looking for proof before you can trust? Sometimes we have this feeling that we know that something feels right. We can't explain it, but we just know. And that's our intuition, that's our dream, that's our deeper knowing. We know, but we don't know how we know. Our intuition. And our intuition, if we take some time to reflect, it has been guiding us in the past. It has been guiding us in the past. So, where has your intuition been guiding you? Take a moment to recollect. Where has your intuition been guiding you? The next highlight. They travel to Bethlehem. But before that, there is a decree. There's a decree that's issued, which forces them to travel to Bethlehem. A decree, a sudden change that takes place in your life. We all experience these decrees, right? It keeps coming up. We we get comfortable with our routine. We get comfortable with our space, and then suddenly there's a decree. There's a sudden change from the outside that forces us to do something. A sudden change that takes place in our lives. That essentially is the nature of life, right? It's about change, and change does happen. What we need to what we need to understand is that change is a normal part of life, and there are two types of changes. There is a change that happens on the outside, which we have no control over, and there are changes that happen on the inside over which we have complete control over. So, when a change happens on the outside, how do you manage that? What actions do you take? How do you react? What happens when a decree is issued, when something is forced on you, when change is forced on you? So they travel to Bethlehem, and this is movement toward a change because they traveled because of the decree. And Bethlehem by itself, it represents the place where your insight becomes embodied. And this usually means your insight becoming embodied. This usually means you're taking a small action, or you're changing one habit, or you're making one honest decision, traveling to Bethlehem. So you don't need to overhaul your life. Do that next thing that you need to do. Schedule the appointment, have the conversation, start the practice, start traveling to Bethlehem, start the journey. How do you start the journey? You start the journey with one small step. That's how you start the journey. No one starts their journey by reaching there. It always starts with one small step. So, whatever beginning that you are looking at, what is that one small step that you can take to move toward that beginning? And more importantly, what are you being asked to move toward? What are you being asked to move toward rather than just think about? Because we are very good at thinking. We are very good at ruminating in our mind. But the question is, what is that one step that you're going to take to move towards that new beginning? The next highlight. There was no room at the inn. There was no room at the inn. What does this mean in our own journey of transformation? There was no room at the inn. When the old life has no space for the new, when the old life can't hold the new. Sometimes growth doesn't fit where you are. Old patterns, environments, relationships may start to feel tight. And this can show up as discomfort, it can show up as frustration, emotional exhaustion, or you just get that sense of this no longer works, this is not working out, or I can't be around those people anymore. I feel drained when I talk to them. Old patterns, environments, relationships, they may feel too tight. Or you realize that the old coping strategies that you had, they no longer soothe you. They no longer soothe you. There was no room at the inn. And that's not failure, it's evolution. When old clothes don't fit you anymore, it means you're growing. What do? You buy new clothes that fit. So, where does your life feel crowded? Where does your life feel misaligned? And we need to create that space, right, to become who we need to become. We need to create that space to grow into. And in order to do that, something needs to change. Something needs to change. What needs to change? The next highlight. The child is born in a manger. The child is born in a manger. The sacredness of small beginnings. The sacredness of small beginnings. This birth does not or did not happen in a palace. It happens in a stable. And this is what matters. Real transformation. It almost never arrives dramatically. It arrives quietly, privately, imperfectly. What does the manger mean to us? What does the manger represent? Our vulnerability, our humility, our tenderness, our beginnings that don't yet look impressive. What might this look like in our everyday life? Noticing your inner critic and choosing not to obey it for one moment. Pausing before reacting instead of exploding or shutting down. Choosing rest instead of pushing. Allowing yourself to grieve without fixing it. Telling the truth gently instead of performing strength. These moments, they may feel insignificant, but these moments are foundational. And many people, they dismiss these beginnings because they don't look like success. Okay, so I didn't listen to my inner voice for a moment. It doesn't look like success, but this is the foundational work that you'll be doing. You can call these stable moments. Stable as in manger, animal stable. You can call these stable moments. And every one of these moments is preparing the ground for something real. It's preparing the ground for your growth. It's preparing the ground for your transformation. Every time you choose rest instead of pushing, that's a stable moment. Every time you allow yourself to grieve without fixing it, that's a stable moment. If you rush the manger, you abandon the child. Don't rush it. Let those stable moments happen. The next highlight: the shepherds hear first. The shepherds hear first. The announcement of the child's birth, it did not go to kings or scholars. It was not broadcast to the rich people in the kingdom. It goes to the shepherds. The shepherds. Subtle signs of inner change. Why the shepherds? Because the shepherds are grounded to the earth. They are grounded to the weather. They are grounded because they are they are always in nature. They are connected to nature. They are present. They are grounded. They are attentive. Those are the qualities of shepherds. And the shepherds represent your our own inner awareness. Before the outer world changes, your relationship to yourself changes. When we are on this journey of transformation, we don't try to change the outside. We change the inside. We change our relationship to ourselves. When we do that, the outside gets fixed on its own. The outside takes care of itself. And when we start to do this, when we start to listen to our inner awareness, when we work on changing our relationship to ourselves, you'll notice that you recover faster after an emotional upset. A fight with your spouse that would previously go on for 3 days now gets resolved in 10 minutes. You pause instead of spiraling. You recognize your patterns, you recognize them sooner. And sometimes you recognize them to such a level that you stop yourself from saying something because you have the gift of foresight to know what path that will lead you down. You recognize patterns sooner. You speak more honestly. You feel less compelled to explain yourself. And these shifts that happen, they go unnoticed by others, but they are profound. They are profound. And you still get triggered, but you no longer abandon yourself after getting triggered. And that's simply the angels singing. Inner change precedes outer change. Inner change precedes outer change. The next highlight: the star guides the wise men. And I think this is an important one for us. Following our inner guidance over approval from others. Following our inner guidance over approval. The star, it does not demand attention. The star simply shines. What is the star? The star is our sense of meaning, our sense of alignment, and our sense of vitality. And our star, it will often guide us toward things that don't make sense to others, that cannot be justified logically, that don't bring immediate rewards, that feel quietly right. Those are the things that our star guides us towards. What might this look like in our everyday life? What might following the star look like? Following the star can look like choosing peace over productivity. Following the star can look like choosing authenticity over popularity, choosing depth over speed, and choosing alignment over certainty. The wise men, the wise men, they were not impulsive, but rather they were committed. They kept following the star over months, over time. So, wise people, we are not impulsive, we are committed. We follow the process over the period of time. Whatever we are doing, we trust the process, we follow the process over the period of time. Our lives become coherent when we trust what consistently lights us up. Our life becomes coherent when we trust what consistently lights us up. What lights you up? What has been quietly guiding you again and again? Because there have been these things, there have been those signs, there have been those stars that have been guiding you again and again. And sometimes, many a times, we ignore our inner star to gain approval or for safety. And we've been doing that. I know a lot of us have been doing that, ignoring our star for approval or safety. Become aware of that. Become aware where we are ignoring our inner star simply to gain approval or simply to stay safe. The next highlight: the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And rightfully said, these are called gifts. These are called gifts. And these are the gifts that our awakening requires. These are the gifts that we need to gift ourselves. And these gifts are not decorations, these gifts are inner commitments. Gold. Gold is our self worth. Gold is our self worth. It is the recognition that I matter. My inner life matters. How does accepting this gift look like? You stop apologizing for your needs. You say no without guilt. You stop chasing validation. These are some ways this gift shows up in our life. So give yourself the gift of gold, the gift of self worth. Then we have frankincense. Frankincense symbolizes devotion. Devotion. This is consistency. Frankincense translates to the gift of devotion. Devotion in the sense of consistency, not intensity. In our daily lives, this consistency looks like showing up for your practices even when you're not inspired, choosing nourishing habits, protecting your time and energy. This is what frankincense, devotion looks like. And the third gift, myrrh. Myrrh. Myrrh is the gift of letting go. And letting go, it is the willingness to grieve what must end. The willingness to grieve what must end. Releasing your old identities. Let go of who you thought you should be. mourning relationships or dreams that no longer fit. Your awakening is not about gaining more, it's about becoming more honest. Give these gifts to yourself. Gift yourself gold, the gift of self worth, frankincense, the gift of devotion, myrrh, the gift of letting go. So, where are you being asked to honor your worth more fully? Because many of us, we don't do that. We don't honor our worth. Where are you being asked to honor your worth more fully? And then there's releasing with compassion. Give yourself the gift of mirth. Let go. Release with compassion what is not serving you. Release with compassion what is not serving you. So the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, self worth, devotion, and letting go. The next highlight, Herod seeks to destroy the child. Herod seeks to destroy the child. When the old self panics, when the old self panics, Herod is the part of you that says, don't change. Herod is the part of you that says, this is dangerous, don't do it. Herod is the part of you that says, who do you think you are? Herod is the part of you that says, you're not good enough. Herod is the part of you that says, you'll never make it. Why bother trying? Herod is not evil. Herod is simply terrified of losing control. Herod is simply terrified of losing control. Herod can be thought of as your ego, the behavior of your ego as you start a big change in your life. How does Herod show up in our lives? You're taking a walk, you get this brilliant idea, you rush back home, or you tell yourself, the moment I get home, I'm going to put that idea on paper and I'm going to start working on it. You get back home and you say, okay, I'll sit in front of the television for some time or I'll scroll for a bit. Herod shows up as procrastination right when clarity arrives. Herod shows up as self sabotage after having a breakthrough. Herod shows up as those distractions that we get sucked into. Herod urges us to numb or to abandon the process. You commit to growth, and for those of y'all who are committed to your growth, you commit to growth and suddenly you find those old habits intensify. I'm sure you'll have had that experience. You commit to growth, you find those old habits intensify. Like you want to start a diet, and the very next day, you have this insane craving for chocolate. You commit to growth, and old habits intensify. But that's not failure, that's resistance. And resistance is a sign that there's meaning in the change that you're making. Resistance is a sign that there's meaning in the change that you're making. So, what old patterns feel threatened by your growth? What old patterns feel threatened by your growth? If I've stopped consuming alcohol, how will I enjoy the party? How will I enjoy social events? What old patterns feel threatened by your growth? If I go on this diet, what do I order at the restaurant? And when these patterns threaten your growth, is it possible to respond with curiosity instead of responding with force? The next highlight, the flight to Egypt. The flight to Egypt. Creating safe space for becoming. Creating safe space for becoming. Because new life cannot survive constant exposure. New life cannot survive constant exposure. Egypt symbolizes incubation. It symbolizes retreat, protection. And in our everyday lives, this means not sharing your plans too soon, choosing supportive environments, limiting your exposure to negativity, creating routines that stabilize you. Because not everything needs to be explained. You don't need to explain. What part of your growth needs privacy right now? What part of your growth needs privacy right now? And where in your life can you create more safety, more support for yourself? And the last highlight, they return when the danger has passed. Integration and embodiment. Because eventually, the new self, it stabilizes. You no longer need to protect it fiercely. You start living it. And how does this look like? Your boundaries start to feel natural. Your choices feel aligned, they don't feel forced. That inner conflict, it starts to quiet down. And there's that sense of quiet confidence that starts to build up. There's no announcement, there's nothing to prove to anyone, there's no performance, there's just being, just presence. Integration is when effort becomes expression. They return when the danger has passed. So, what new way of being feels most stable in you right now? And if you've been on this journey for some time, you have been going to transformation, you have been going through all the processes we talked about. And every time you go through that process, you emerge as a new version of yourself, as a more stable version of yourself. And then the process starts again. And every time you go through this process, you keep growing and growing and growing. So right now, you will be in a way of being that is stable, and at the same time, in a way of being that is going through all these processes. So the Christmas story is your story. It's a story of how a divine impulse enters your heart, how it grows, how your old identity resists it, how you protect it, and how it eventually blossoms. The angel still whispers, the star still shines, the shepherd still listens, the wise men still travel, and the headed within you still feels threatened. But beneath it all, a sacred child, a new you is waiting to be born. A new you is waiting to be born. So tonight, whenever you have the time tonight, you can ask yourself, what is trying to be born in me? What inner angel have I been ignoring? Where am I afraid but ready? What is the star that I'm being asked to follow? What old self is fading? And what gift can I bring to my own awakening? And let this story of Christmas become a living presence in you, a reminder that transformation is always possible, that guidance is always near, and that the light within you that's always seeking birth. It's always seeking birth. So let's now go into a guided meditation. Let's go into the birth within. Let's journey into the Christmas story. Take a slow breath in and let it fall out of you like a soft exhale of relief. Allow your body to settle. Allow the ground to hold you. Allow this moment to be enough. Tonight we enter the Christmas story within you. We enter the story not as a memory, not as a ritual, but as a landscape of your own becoming. If you're comfortable and if it is safe to do so, you may close your eyes and let the outer world fade for just a little while. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breath deepen. And let your mind loosen its grip. And imagine now that you are standing at the edge of a quiet village at dusk. The sky is painted with colors of twilight. There's a soft indigo, a deep gold, and a whisper of rose. Feel the cool evening air on your skin. Hear the distant rustle of wind through the trees. Sense the presence of something ancient, something sacred, something familiar. You begin to walk slowly toward a small, humble home. Inside sits a young woman, Mary, and she is not a figure from history. She is the part of you that can receive inspiration, the part of you that listens deeply, the part of you that can say yes to the unknown. See her now. Notice the gentleness in her posture, the spaciousness in her gaze, the quiet readiness in her heart. As you gaze upon her, an angel appears, a luminous presence filled with calm, clarity, and warmth. The angel is not outside of you, it is your intuition. It is the whisper of a dream. It is the arrival of a new possibility in your life. Let the angels speak to you now. Let it tell you what is ready to be born in you, what desire, what healing, what truth, what courage is waiting to enter your life. Listen to the angel. You may hear words or feel sensations or simply sense direction. Whatever arises, let it be enough. And now see Mary place her hand over her heart. She feels fear, yes, but she also feels an unmistakable calling. Let yourself feel both your own fear and your own readiness. Let yourself feel both your own fear and your own readiness. Now imagine Mary whispering, "Let it be, let it be." Feel those words inside your chest. Let it be. Let it grow. Let it move through you. Now shift your attention to Joseph, a symbol of your thinking mind. The part of you that wants proof, the part that worries, the part that doubts. Imagine Joseph standing beside Mary, unsure. But then a dream comes to him, a deep inner knowing that does not need logic to be true. Let this dream energy wash over your own rational mind. Let it soften your doubt. Let it open a small door of trust. And the story moves. You follow Mary and Joseph on the road to Bethlehem. Feel the dust beneath your feet. Hear the rhythmic sound of the donkey's steps. Sense the weariness mixed with quiet anticipation. This is the journey every dream requires, the willingness to walk toward the unknown. Invite into your heart the dream you are walking toward now. Feel its presence. Feel its pull. You arrive in Bethlehem. The lights of the village flicker in the night, but every door is closed. Every inn is full. This is the crowdedness of the mind, the places within you that cannot yet hold the new. So instead, you are guided to a stable, a quiet, humble place, a place of simplicity and warmth. Imagine stepping into this stable now. Smell the sweetness of the hay. Feel the coolness of the stones beneath your feet. Notice the flickering lantern casting golden light across the room. In this humble space, your new self is born. See the child now, glowing softly in the manger. This child is your new beginning, your healing, your awakening, your next chapter. Approach the child gently. Feel the tenderness. Feel the awe. Feel the quiet truth that something sacred lives in you. Outside, shepherds hear the news first. They represent your subtle inner shifts, moments of peace, moments of clarity, moments when your heart feels a little more open. Acknowledge these moments within yourself. They are signs that the birth has begun. Now see three wise men approaching from the east, guided by a bright star. The star is your longing, your direction, your inner compass. The wise men bring their gifts. They offer them to your newborn self. Accept these gifts. Gold, the gift of self worth. Feel the truth. I am worthy of my own becoming. Frankincense, the gift of devotion. Feel the commitment. I will nourish what is sacred in me. And myrrh, the gift of release. Feel the letting go. I allow the old to fall away. Now imagine a shadow in the distance, the presence of Herod. Here's the old patterns, the old fears, the part of you threatened by change. See those shadows now and watch them dissolve in the presence of the child's light. They cannot harm what is truly meant for you. Mary and Joseph take the child and flee to Egypt. This symbolizes the need to protect what is new. Ask yourself gently, what part of you needs protection right now? What new beginning needs quiet, safety, and time? And now imagine yourself holding the child. Feel the warmth, feel the softness, feel the truth that this child is not separate from you. It is you. Hold it close. This is the part of you ready to live, ready to heal, ready to flourish, ready to express your full, radiant self. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, whisper to yourself, I welcome the birth within me. And now gently allow the stable to fade. Allow Bethlehem to fade. Allow the whole scene to dissolve softly into light. Become aware of your breath. Become aware of your body. Become aware of the area you're in, your surroundings. But carry the child with you. Carry the new life. Carry the new possibility. Carry the new self that was born tonight. And when you are ready, if your eyes were closed, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. The Christmas season. The Christmas season is a powerful container. It's a very powerful container. There's softness in the air. There's a reflection that's woven into the days leading up to Christmas. And there's that turning inward as one year fades and another is there just across the horizon. So let the season hold you. Let the season hold you as you hold that new life that is growing within you. Let the lights remind you of your own inner illumination. Let the music soften your edges. Let the gatherings open your heart. And let the quiet nights deepen your listening. And carry this Christmas story with you. Carry this Christmas story as a companion, as a mirror, as a teacher, and I think most importantly, as a reminder that something sacred is always seeking to be born in you. May you walk through this season with gentleness. May you honor what is stirring inside you. May you trust the timing of your unfolding. And may the light within you shine a little brighter with every breath, every choice, every day. Thank you, everyone, for your presence tonight. Thank you for allowing the story to come alive within you. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And God bless you all. Light, love, blessings. Namaste.